My dear students, today I am going to take a discussion on the Gibbs adsorption equation. In bracket, I have mentioned no derivation is required because in your syllabus they are not mentioned the derivation of the Gibbs adsorption equation. So I will going to take a direct equation and discuss on that equation regarding its applications. So as you know, yesterday, that is the previous class, have discussed about the effect of dissolved substances on the surface tension of a liquid or a solvent. Based on that now, we have three types of solutions: type 1, type 2, type 3. When you consider a solution or liquid or a solvent in a beaker, the surface of this liquid has some residual forces. As you know, the surface tension is nothing but the force per unit length, or is also defined as the surface free energy per unit area. After having the solvent in the beaker, now let me study how the surface tension of a liquid or a solvent varies on adding a solute. If add a solute to the liquid, if the concentration of the solute is more on the surface than in the bulk of the solvent, it causes the decrease in the surface tension of the solvent. Here, that refers to positive adsorption. Whereas in case of a negative adsorption, if add a solute to the liquid or a solvent, where the concentration of the solute is more in the bulk of the liquid than at the surface. Therefore, there is a change in the surface free energy of a solvent, and which causes the change in the surface tension of a liquid in presence of a solute. A quantitative expression which relates the extent of adsorption and the change of surface tension of the solvent due to the addition of a solute was derived by J. W. Gibbs in 1878, and this expression is called Gibbs adsorption equation. As this equation was derived considering the two component system and also by using the chemical potential of the solution of the two components, and as approached the equation, as I mentioned on the screen, S is equal to minus C upon RT into d gamma upon dc. That each term indicates C is the concentration of solute, and R is a gas constant, T is the temperature, d gamma is the change in surface tension, and dc is the change in concentration, and S refers to surface excess concentration, or you can say adsorption. So this is an equation, and this equation can be used to predict some of the concept. Therefore, let's go for the application of Gibbs adsorption equation. The first is it to predict the positive or negative adsorption. In Gibbs equation, d gamma upon dc gives the rate of variation of the surface tension of the solution with the concentration. Look at this equation. If this d gamma upon dc, if it is equal to negative, then minus into minus plus, S is equal to positive. S is equal to positive. So that indicates there's a positive adsorption expected to be observed in case of a solution. If d gamma upon dc is equal to positive, that was s is equal to negative, then you can say it's a negative adsorption. Once again, I'll repeat now. If d gamma upon dc, d gamma upon dc it is positive, S must be negative, the concentration of the solute in the surface is less than in the bulk of the solution. This is case of negative adsorption. If d gamma upon dc is negative, S must be positive. The concentration of the solute in the surface is more than in the bulk of the solution, and this is called a positive adsorption. Here now, the concentration of solute tells everything. If it's a positive negative adsorption, concentration of solute on the surface is going to be less. In case of positive adsorption, the concentration of solute on the surface is more. So because of these two differences in the concentration of solute on the surface and bulk of the solution, that causes a change in the surface tension of a liquid or a solvent. The example for this now, the substance like a soaps, sulfonic acid, sulfonates, alcohols, and detergents lower the surface tension of water, hence show the positive adsorption, and these are called surface active agents. Means we can find out whether the surface active reagents are not. If they are surface active agent, you can see the soap shows the surface effect in the cleaning the cloths. And second, if a strong electrolytes are and amino benzoic acids increases the surface tension of water and hence show negative adsorption. The first application is nothing but in the predicting the positive or negative adsorption with help of the Gibbs equation. Now the second application is in the calculation of excess concentration of a dissolved substance on the surface of liquid. Knowing the concentration C of the solute in the solution and knowing the value of d gamma upon dc, that the rate of variation of the surface tension with concentration at a temperature T, the excess concentration of dissolved substances on the surface of a liquid can be calculated. Now, the third application is in the calculation of adsorption of insoluble gas on the surface of a liquid using the modified equation as shown below. Instead of C, you can make use of P because the gases are there. Now we can consider the vapor pressure, the pressure of the gas, and also dP. Instead of DC, you can make a dP. And with the help of this equation, we can also calculate the adsorption of insoluble gases on the surface of liquid using this equation. So these are the important applications of the Gibbs adsorption equation. So this is all the discussion about the study of Gibbs adsorption equation. Now let us move on to take another important concept that is the adsorption isobars. See, as you know, in case of it, in the study of the absorption, we have the different type of graph. There is a isotherms and isobars. Isotherm means the extent of adsorption of a solute on m grams of solvent is studied keeping temperature constant, varying the pressure, and that is called adsorption isotherm. Iso means same, therm temperature. Keeping temperature constant, if you study the variation of the extent of adsorption with respect to pressure, that is called adsorption isotherm. Now we have one more type of isotherm, that there's a isobar, that is a graph, that is called adsorption isobars. Here now the extent of adsorption, that's x upon m, is studied with respect to temperature, keeping pressure constant, and that is called adsorption isobars. The graphs obtained by plotting adsorption versus temperature, keeping the pressure constant, are called adsorption isobars. Now let us see how this the graph varies in two different types of adsorption. There is a physical and chemical adsorption. Look at these two graphical representation on the screen. In a physical adsorption, if you study the rate of that's amount of adsorption, on the surface of adsorbent with the temperature, and second one is amount of with respect to temperature in case of chemical adsorption. See, in case of physical adsorption, as you increase the temperature, the amount of adsorption of a substance on the surface of adsorbent goes on decreases. See, this goes on. This is nothing but a what is the effect of temperature on the adsorption. See, when you take this at a very low temperature, so there is a high adsorption. As you increase the temperature, that means the adsorption goes on decreases. As already discussed in case of differences between the physical chemical adsorption. So lower temperature favors the adsorption. See, at lower temperature, high adsorption. As the temperature increases, now the rate of adsorption goes on decreases. That means amount of adsorption on the surface of adsorbent goes on decreases. Whereas in case of chemical adsorption, the amount of adsorption or x upon m value first goes on increases. It reaches maxima and further increase in temperature goes on decreases. This is a somewhat when you look at these two graphs, the groups are found to be entirely different. So as you increase the temperature in case of chemical adsorption, now the reactant molecule slowly goes on getting energy of activation, and when reaches a minimum energy that required to get adsorbed on the surface of an adsorbent is increases at this point the maximum, and at this position at this temperature that means here the molecule get adsorbed. After this temperature, now what happens, that is that energy supplied to this system again is more than what they get adsorbed. Now slowly the molecules from the surface of the adsorbent goes on dissolved, then it goes on decreases. That means adsorption goes on decreases as increase of further temperature. So more than the after the peak in the graph. So this is how we can see what is the effect of temperature on the adsorption of a gas or a liquid on the surface of an adsorbent. These are the two important graphs you can see. And after this, we have one more important concept, adsorption indicators. As you know, the indicators are the chemical substances which are used to find out the end point of a chemical reactions during titration. And we have different type indicators already used in case of acid-base titration and redox titration. And we have one more type of indicators. Also, we have one more type of titration there, that is the precipitation indicators. In case of precipitation indicator, you are going to use a special type of indicator. Those indicators called the adsorption indicators. During titration, the indicators are added to that mixture, and when the reaction is completed, when the precipitation is formed, in presence of such type of indicator, the precipitation of the color changes. The color of the precipitation, we can see the end point is reached or not. We can determine. So those are called adsorption indicator. That means the indicator which causes adsorption of precipitate on the surface when it reaches the maximum, that's the end point, that is called the adsorption indicator. Examples, the various dyes which work on the principle of adsorption have been introduced as indicator, particularly in the precipitation. For example, KBr is easily titrated with the AgNO3 using a eosine indicator. Here, this is the nothing but an agentometric titration. So we will get a very accurate endpoint using this adsorption indicator. So we have certain examples on this now. That means the indicators of fluorescing and color changes during the titration yellow to green color, and the applications are all halides having a pH 7 to 10, and eosine having a pink coloring, and at the end it is a red violet. A sample must not contain Cl minus, a pH must be greater than 1, and dimethyl fluorescein orange to blue, and I minus only pH is between 4 to 7. So dichlorofluorescein yellow to green to red, yellow green to red, and Cl minus and Br and pH is between 4 to 7. So it's a very simple elementary idea about the what are adsorption indicator and what are the examples for the adsorption indicator is a more than sufficient to go to attend the examination. Now last part is let's go for the study of the important applications of adsorption. We have a wide applications of the adsorption in different fields. I'll take only few important applications observed. First one is in a gas mask. Gas masks are device containing a suitable adsorbent so that the poisonous gas present in the atmosphere are preferentially and adsorbed than the air for breathing. For a air for breathing is purified. That means here when a poisonous gas is exposed to warfield, if it wear the mask, so that when you inhale it, no, that gas present, poisonous gas present in the atmospheric air, that can filter all the poisonous gases, which allows only the pure air get into this body. So that is one of the important applications of the adsorption concept. Now the second is the cleaning of sugar things. In case of sugar industry, after crushing this, after crushing and squeezing the juice from the sugar cane, so it has certain color. The color of the solution can be decolorized by adding a activated animal charcoal, which gives all the green color, and thus it is one of the important application in case of cleaning sugar. The third is in paint industry. This is very important. The paint should not contain a dissolved gas, as otherwise the paint does not adhere well to the surface to be painted, and thus will have to pour covering. The dissolved gases are therefore removed by suitable adsorbent during manufacture. Means every paint contains a suitable adsorbent. When you apply a paint on the wall, if the paint contains a certain gases, and it will not cause the perfect adhering of the paint on the surface. Now if it contains a adsorbent, so which removes the gas from this paint, so it makes the paint to get adsorbed strongly on the surface of a wall. Therefore the adsorbent phenomenon is used in case of paint industry. And in case of catalysis, this is the most and wide applicable concept, and the most of these reactions carried out in presence of solid catalyst, especially when you make a solid catalyst and gases reactant or liquids and solids as a catalyst. That means in case of heterogeneous catalysis. Now whenever this reaction takes place, now when in presence of a solid catalyst, the adsorption of reactant takes place on the surface of the catalyst, and which causes the reaction to proceed and forms a product upon the surface of the adsorbent. After the formation of a product on the adsorbent, and it causes remove dissolves this product, again the new surface is exposed for the further adsorption. Now the adsorption continues to take place. Now therefore the rate of reaction goes and increases in case of solid catalyst. That is the concentration of reactant increases on the surface, and hence the rate of reaction increases. That means when the surface is free, the reactant molecules adsorb on the surface and more as they collide together. It forms a new product. The product formed is deadsorbed, a new surface is exposed. Like this adsorption, desorption, adsorption, desorption take place. Now you can see the rate of reaction goes and increases in presence of solid catalyst based on the adsorption phenomenon. And next one is in preserving vacuum, especially in case of a purification of a noble gases. We are using the activated charcoal where we need the complete vacuum, and vacuum can be created inside the suitable system or a glass. You can apply a certain amount of activated renal charcoal, so it absorbs all the gas present in it. Thus the entire this the area become vacuum because of adsorption. And lastly, there is in chromatographic analysis. The selective adsorption of a certain substances from the solution by particular solid adsorbent has helped to develop a technique for the separation of components of mixture. See, this chromatographic analysis is widely applicable in case of research field where very minute components of mixture present in it now, and the components of mixture can be separated by using the chromatographic paper, where the paper has adsorbing property, and the components present in that mixture have the different the adsorption power. So we can separate this very minute quantity of the the different components in the mixture by the method called chromatographic analysis. So this is all regarding the discussion concerned to the important application of adsorption in a different field. So with this concept, I come to the end of the discussion, the study of adsorption chapter. So thank you, one and all.